All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA prop betting video. Have you guys covered here with today's Wednesday live stream. First time going live in a week here. Just a little bit more time. So if you guys have some questions, feel free to get those in. But I do want to start the video off with covering some quick college basketball prop bets. There are two that I think are pretty appealing. And so we'll start there. Give me a second to kind of get that loaded up here, though, on my end. And yeah, they're going to be two college basketball prop bets, more in the fantasy score realm, guys. Kind of something that you guys have probably come to get used to here. But let's start off with the first one here. And that's going to be Johnson here, Mechie Johnson, to get over 26.5 for his fantasy score. We're going to notice that he's obviously been getting the over recently, which is going to be something that we like. And that's also going to be the same with the next bet. Also Johnson as well, guys. He's consistently getting his over here as well. The reason why I like them, though, is mostly because the data is also telling us that these are good bets. So I kind of like when those bets do go hand in hand. Okay, so we obviously see 53.8% chance for that to hit. Average sportsbook line likes the over. Projection data also likes the over. So obviously that goes hand in hand with that over bet. And then we can also look at another one here, guys. This one, same exact thing. Underdog and prize picks basically have the same. Typically always like to see a little bit of an edge there between the two sites, but pretty solid stuff there as well. But yeah, let's go ahead now and jump on in just to the NBA game by game breakdown, guys. And let's start off here with the first game, which is going to be the Bulls versus the Pacers, guys. So very interesting spot here, I would say, with Trey Jones still being out here, guys. Zach Collins still out, but really what's interesting to me is really the best bet that we're getting for Chicago that I'll talk about in just a second. And it's also a close game. So it's a 235.5 at game total here. 2-point spread as well. Very appealing there. I saw some reports that, kind of fun news here for Halliburton, just in general, guys. He's starting to practice doing some 3-on-3, 4-on-4 stuff. So just kind of interesting stuff there. But same kind of team for the Pacers in terms of what we've seen recently. The minutes are always the question with them. They are kind of just spreading out the minutes there in some capacity. So that's always a little bit annoying. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into this first game here, guys. It's a big slate. That's also part of why I want to do a live stream. The best bet, I would say, is going to be with Kobe White. Whether you want to get to his over 4.5 assists or his over fantasy score, I don't mind that. Remember, kind of an interesting that happened with Josh Giddey being off the court is that it actually hurt some players, and Kobe White was one of them. We are also getting a pretty big prop line difference for Kobe White between prize picks and underdog for fantasy score, and that's where I'd rather just bet this because we know that the price line is just the clearest edge that we're getting. Just all the other metrics that we have coming in are telling us this price line is the lowest. So I do like that. And we take a peek here, guys. Been pretty consistent lately as well. Given the fact that he's projected to get 32 minutes in a game that's supposed to stay close in a higher scoring game, I like chasing that. And so I'm okay doing that there as well. Reading this comment. Play on Taco Tuesday more so, and then do Flex Friday as well. And then take advantage of some bonuses that are out there from other books. Honestly, that's the best advice I can have to you if you have a low bankroll is take advantage of you don't just have to play on prize picks these days. There's other sites that offer bonuses for signing up. I don't like to tell people to do that because maybe they don't want to spend that much money, but if you can take advantage of some of the promos that are out there from other sites, it is worthwhile. So it's worth calling out. We'll get into this one in just a second. I'll remember this question as well. But then we look at some of the other bets that we were getting here in this game. Vucevic is kind of interesting. Just his production kind of fell off a little bit, guys, with Giddey being back, but at the same time, with Giddey being on the court, you are expecting games to stay close enough for long enough. And so we're seeing some of these over bets that we're getting for him. It is a little bit appealing in a game stack because it is going to be a good matchup. It is going to be a high scoring game, whether that's his over rebounds and assists, whether that's his over rebounds. I don't mind them. The fact that it has a 52% chance that I don't mind that. I could get to that. Don't mind his over fantasy score as well. This is one where maybe we like the Kobe White one and we want to stack it with Vooch. I think that ends up being a good opportunity. It's like yesterday, guys. I mentioned that a lot with some of the games that we're getting. Unfortunately, the Thunder players were a big letdown, SGA and Kenrich Williams, but the Portland and Washington game ended up being a pretty good game to stack. And the Pelicans guys that I all mentioned yesterday all ended up doing extremely well. Just the freaking Thunder players. SGA being a big letdown the last couple of slates. That's going to happen. But yeah, I really don't mind the idea of stacking like Vooch and Kobe White together. From there, though, are there any spots that we can get to maybe to run it back with? It's kind of thin there, honestly, for the Pacers in regards to some over bets that we can get to. And that's what I don't like. I would love to be able to tell you guys, oh, here, TJ McConnell over 20.5 fantasy short. To me, that's too thin. Like, it's not a terrible matchup for him going against the Bulls, but it's too thin given the projected minutes that he typically gets as well. And then we'll just filter it by the best bets here, guys, real quick. And so Furphy under 6.5 points. I mean, sure, if I had to choose, I would be betting on his under there, but nothing too crazy there. Jalen Smith, I don't mind. Jalen Smith it's really just depends on the minutes that he gets. And his minutes haven't dropped off with Patrick Williams being back. And so I don't mind that. You know, Jalen Smith's been someone I've been on a decent amount, both DFS-wise and also prop betting-wise. I could get to that one. SGA and Modest. Not Modest is probably too thin. So I don't mind Jalen Smith. More of a traditional sportsbook bet. You know, some people always get confused when I say I don't mind a bet. They want me to say something with absolute confidence that this bet's going to hit. Understand that I'm giving people advice for Prize Picks, Underdog, Pick Six, you know, those sites as well, those DFS sites, but I'm also giving it for traditional sites as well. And I think most people understand that. But typically when I say I don't mind a bet, that's what I'm referring to. Is like, this is a good traditional sports bet, not necessarily a bet you need to get to for Prize Picks. No. We'll jump on into the next game here, guys. We got Lakers versus Cleveland, but let me answer this question first. Let's take a peek at Sengun. We're not getting any for Sengun? Never mind, I guess. We'll go on to the next game here. Lakers versus Cleveland. So Reeves is still out, guys. Kind of an interesting spot for Cleveland. Garland is still out. Mobley is still out. And so you guys kind of know the golden rule here with Cleveland. When one of the two are out between Mobley and Allen, that typically makes the other one more interesting. You're on a per night basis when they're both healthy. It is a little bit of a guessing game as to which one we should be on. So the fact that both Garland and also Mobley are out is obviously going to open up a lot of usage here. And the question becomes, are the lines going to be juiced up too much with both of them being out? I think that's a fair question. It's a 235 game total, so we like that 3-point spread as well. I will say as Sam Merrill is out and or DeAndre Hunter is out, that does change the equation a little bit there as well, where like Dean Wade and Jalen Tyson become much more appealing if those two players are out, Merrill and Hunter. The issue that I have is like Tyson's already juiced up a lot with his lines. And so it's tough to really see him being someone we could get to. And so it is kind of weird here in this spot, guys. Minutes wise, we haven't seen, we've seen a decent amount of minutes with those two players off the court, Mobley and also Garland. But in terms of usage, it's really Donovan Mitchell picks up 7.5 more usage. And then his points as well. Oh, I realized why I didn't get Sengun in there. I had the best bets filter on. Apologies. Hey, when I do that. But anyways, we'll get into that in just a second. So Donovan Mitchell, though, guys, his points go up by about 10.6 per 36. And so his points line up 31.5. This being a 50-50 split, I would say this is wrong. Per 36 wise, he does average 39.4 points per 36. For what it's worth, he does average 54 fantasy points per 36 as well. I actually like the over points bet a little bit more so here, but it's a good matchup, high scoring game, close game. I think he's the player we want to begin to the most. But then from there, guys, it really is kind of a drop off in regards to who we can be targeting. That being said, Jared Allen does see his points go up by 9.6, and then Jared Allen's usage does also go up by 6.6. His overall fantasy points goes up by 10 per 36. He does average about 1.9 more rebounds per 36 as well. So points-wise, he averages 24.6 points. So just naturally, guys, this is already looking like a good bet. And then per 36 wise, he does average 11.7 rebounds as well. The issue is we look at the game log. The game log's ugly, right? Like we don't like that. I again, this is a better traditional sportsbook bet than it is for prop betting. But I think you could easily get to his over points and rebounds. If you wanted to get to over his fantasy score, you could do that as well. His per 36 production, guys, is 47 fantasy points per 36 with those two players off the court. Now, for him, it's not necessarily the best matchup. I don't really mind it. Like projected for 29 minutes, I think there's a chance he ends up getting more than that. I really like this spot. I think this ends up being a good spot there for Jared Allen. And so I really hate telling you guys to bet on unders where the data is telling us to bet the unders, even though these are like, 50.6 and 50.9. I'd rather tell you guys to bet on it, like one that's 52% likely for the overhit if we're betting on it over. But I do think this value is wrong for him. Just reading some of the comments here. One second, just checking something out on my end with this comment here. This could just be caught in a refresh right now, so it does refresh like every half an hour. That could be the case. Obviously, I'm using it right now. But let me see if I can do a manual refresh right now as well, just to alleviate that for you if that's going on right now. Let me just refresh that right now. But yeah, for Jared Allen, I think that ends up being a good spot. I don't know. I don't think I'm crazy with that. The issue is that with the rest of the Cleveland players, the production is pretty much spread out. And so that's something that, to me, that becomes a little bit too thin. Hunter would be kind of the next logical option. We don't have too many minutes into the sample size. I like the fact that we're being told about us over here. He does average 21 points per 36. Good matchup. He's one where if we are already betting on Mitchell and Jared Allen to get their overs, I think I would just be fine getting to this one there as well, though. So I think that's the route we want to go there, guys. So I'm just seeing here. I'll get that going during the live stream to see if it's not popping. The prize picks optimized there for you on your end. Should be working. Obviously, I'm using it right now, so it's kind of strange. All right, so let's jump back into this though. So like Sam Merle, guys, we don't really have too much of a sample with him. I actually think he's someone we should just stay away from. Jalen Tyson, he does pick up a lot of points as well per 36. The issue with him is, again, a lot of his lines have already been raised up a decent amount. Now, if you want to chase it, I don't mind it. Like if you like him over DeAndre Hunter, I don't mind it. I think I would rather get to Hunter there. And let's actually go and select Hunter. We did select him. All right. So I don't mind that if you guys want to get to one of those two. I don't know if I would go with both of them because, again, it's probably going to be Mitchell. It's probably going to be Allen that pick up most of the usage. Now, on the flip side, this, guys, for me, with the Lakers being healthier, I don't necessarily like into any of the overs. And so when we see a bet like Jackson Hayes for his under points and rebounds, I'm more inclined to get to that. Don't necessarily love that's a good matchup in a high scoring game, but I'm more inclined to get to that. So I don't mind that option there, but it's a little bit thin after that. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump on into the next game here. Let's see if there's any questions as well. I haven't noticed this. What do you mean? I haven't noticed this. Like the DVP bet, you mean? That'd be different if you're talking about this, where it's just based off of the DVP. So it'd be based off of this column, which is adjusting for the projected minutes and the matchup, if that's what you're asking there. So that makes sense. All right, so let's zoom back out here. I'm trying to answer some of these questions. All right, so let's get back into the Sangoon question from earlier because I had the best bets filter on. So his PRA, what is it at? I don't really see the need to get to it. Is it just because he's done pretty well against them the last two games, chasing the matchup there? Guess I don't hate it. The logic there. Not really one that I was going on my way to target. But I wouldn't talk you out of that. Let's go to Kevin Durant as well. So a couple of questions in that game. So let's just go through all the bets for Kevin Durant real quick, see if we're getting any good over bets. 4 assists, maybe. Rebounds, I don't know. That's a little bit too thin. So 24.5 points. Obviously, been crushing it lately. It's a lower scoring game. What did he do the last two games against the Spurs? 18-24. I don't know. It's not one that I want to go to my way to target. Points plus rebounds as well. Probably a little bit more in play for me. Like if I had to choose between those two, it would be his points and rebounds. I don't know. I feel like he's a little bit too thin. Rebounds and assists for KD as well. You know, this one is more appealing as well. We see the last couple of games against the Spurs as well, guys. 4 rebounds, 7 assists, then 1 and 2. So obviously we don't like that there, but overall not like terrible. I don't know. I don't like the low game total here. That's kind of my biggest issue there with Houston. But that's one where both of them for Sangoon and Durant, I don't think they're bad bets. I wouldn't talk you out of them. They're just not going to be ones that I get to. But don't mind those call outs. All right, let's jump into another game here, guys. So we got Atlanta versus Boston. So both teams still basically had the same players out that they've had out, except for Kata is going to be out tonight. So was it illness? Okay. I don't really know what we should be expecting in regards to the minutes here, guys. So like, yeah, Garza maybe gets a little bit more run. Amari Williams is currently projected to start. Like, I don't know if I necessarily care about that. It's a close game still, 6.5 points, 230 game total. Like, that's not terrible. We'll pull up the bets here and see what we're getting. Lots of games. I should be a little bit faster today. Apologies for that. Let's just go ahead and just take a peek at the best bets that we're getting here, guys. So Derek White under 3.5 rebounds. A little thin for me. I'm not messing with Luke Kennard. I would actually probably favor the under here, guys, even though he's been getting there recently. Projected for 21 minutes. Been shooting the basketball pretty well over the past 3 games. And so, you know, if you give him just a normal night shooting, then yeah, he's probably not going to hit his over, but still probably a little bit too thin. Like I do agree, 52% chance. Not messing with Pritchard. Garza here. I mean, if he does get 17 minutes, yeah, we probably wouldn't expect him to be able to get the over. We see the one game where he did get the over. He got 20 minutes. So I think that the minutes projection is correct here. Decent matchup. It's probably a little bit too thin as well. And that's the thing. Like, no one really directly benefits with Kata being off the court if we are splitting the minutes up between those two bigs. Anika, tougher matchup for him. Yeah. Yeah. Did get the over against Boston last time out. Yeah. Probably not get into that one as well. So we'll jump on into the next game here, guys. And just trying to be a little bit quicker here. Orlando versus Miami. So kind of some interesting stuff here with Miami once again. So you got Mitchell out, you got Ware out. Powell listed as day-to-day. Very big difference maker here on the slate. If he sits, Wiggins obviously pops a little bit more. Bam becomes a little bit more interesting there as well. If he plays, though, then he's someone that also we should be looking at. Now, he's had some weird stuff going on with his back, with the tightness there, which has kind of affected his ability to get the overs. And so I'm probably just not going to bet on Powell for right now. It is a close game, though, guys, and then not terrible game total. Looking at the Magic, same players still out. That happened out, so nothing too crazy there in terms of us getting any sort of advantage. These are the top bets that we're currently getting right now. The best bets for Wiggins. Sure, if Powell sits, you could potentially get to this one, but if he plays, if Powell plays, you could maybe get to this one. If he sits, then this obviously becomes a bad bet. And so I would just wait. I don't think we need to get to any of those other ones there. I mean, Penda for under 4.5 rebounds for Orlando. I guess I don't hate this one. You know, his minutes have been a little bit lower with everyone being healthy. The only thing he has going for him is a good matchup. Yeah, sure. I can get behind that one. Suggs under 4.5 assists, not one that I feel like we need to get to. And then Penda, this is annoying. I hate when this happens. So I like his under 4.5 rebounds. Again, do we necessarily need to place it for a bet of the day? Maybe not. But then we're being told to bet on his over 13.5 for his fantasy score. That to me just tells us let's just not bet on him. But let's just take a peek at some of those other players. So we'll start with Andrew Wiggins, guys. And I do just want to pull it up again on my end here. Just want to see what it's like with Powell on the court with all those other players off. So give me about 30 seconds here. So I'm going to look at what it's like with Ware off the court, with Mitchell off the court, and then who else was it? Hero, and with Hero off the court. And so for Wiggins, guys, he averages 17.5 points per 36, 7.2 rebounds, and 4.7 assists per 36 with Mitchell, Ware, and Hero off the court. The tough part is Ware hasn't been playing all too much. Hero's decently been out this for a decent amount already this season. And so really the biggest difference is Mitchell there. And then we look at the matchup against Orlando, not necessarily the best matchup. And so that's where I'm a little bit hesitant to get to some of his overs. But if Powell is limited, these lines for Wiggins do seem to be a little bit too low, even though the matchup is more difficult. Now, I have enjoyed betting on Jaquez or just being on Jaquez. Mostly in DFS. We're not getting any spots from him. That's annoying. So Jaquez, guys, per 36, 19.4 points, 7.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists, a 20% usage rate while averaging 36 fantasy points per 36. Like that's the spot where I would most ideally be able to get to. But I get why we're not getting lines for him if Norman Powell is banged up because, well, he picks up a decent amount of usage. And let's go back to this. The NBA optimizer should be working now, just as an FYI there. It does look like it was just caught in a refresh there, so apologies for that. That is a weird error that's going on where sometimes they'll get caught in a refresh and it'll like pause. That's something I should make a note of to correct there. But it should be good to go now, just as an FYI. Powell was just upgraded to hot powered one. What's going on? That's awesome. Nice to see you here. So probably makes us not want to get to Powell then. Or sorry, well, to Powell, but to Wiggins then. I'd be fine getting to Bam. You know, Bam's been on a pretty good run recently. Not necessarily the best matchup, but still with all those players still out, I don't mind it. But more importantly, I would rather get to him on underdog where it's not a big prop line difference, but it could be literally the difference between him hitting or not hitting. We see this game, guys, 39.9. You know, didn't get the over still on underdog, but that could literally be the difference between him cashing or not cashing. So I like that bet a little bit more. On underdog, we see his 19.5 points. His per 36 production here. Let me just take a peek. Yeah, it's 25 points per 36 with them off the court. So I don't hate it. Everyone kind of gets a big bump. Yeah, we'll get to that one instead of his fantasy score. Over 19.5 points. A little bit of riding the hot hand there. Not necessarily the best matchup, but he does benefit. I mean, his usage goes up by 2%, averages 8 more points per 36, fantasy points per 36, and then real life points 6 more. So either one of those two are good, but let's just roll with the over points there. All right, so yeah, Toronto. I kind of miss Jakob Poeltl being healthy, guys. I enjoyed being on Jakob Poeltl there. All right. Love the comments, guys. I'm sorry that I'm a little bit behind on them. I'll try to answer some of them as it comes up. I literally just got this hat today. Thank you for commenting on it. I thought it was a cool hat. I did. It's got a little T insert slot here. It's a golf hat. I don't know. I thought it was cool. So thank you for. I can put it behind my head now. How I normally like to wear my hats. I need a haircut. Desperately need a haircut. But thank you for recognizing. That's awesome. And then went 3 for 3 yesterday. I mean, that's just good stuff going on here. Like to see it. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this next game here. So we got the Knicks versus Toronto. Lower scoring game, 221.5, guys. 1.5 point spread. Yeah, I'm sad that Jakob Poeltl is still out. It's annoying. The Toronto team is a team that I think should be better. They're a team that should make a splash this trade deadline. I don't know what it is. I feel like they should make a splash. Maybe Giannis, as a Bucks fan, as those trade rumors are going on today. But then we look at the Knicks guys. Mitchell Robinson is out. Josh Hart listed as day-to-day. What's his last stat? Still questionable. So, yeah, if he were to sit, then Towns would be pretty appealing. We might even be getting – I thought we were getting some good bets. Let's pull up Towns. So, yeah, I thought this line was a little bit strange here. Just going through the normal research here. But just with it being a lower scoring game, guess it makes sense. This is where, you know how on every other bet you can tease it or juice them up? I wish you could do that with some fantasy score lines because there's certain players where, yes, you can do that with their PRA. And I don't mind that, juicing them up. But sometimes you're just betting on a player to just have a very good game. You might not know how they're going to get there for NBA, but like maybe it's multiple blocks and steals. Maybe it's just going off points wise. That's what I'd want to do with Towns there. OG for under 4.5 rebounds. I'm sure this one is already one that's been bumped since it's a plus EV bet. But if that one's still there, you could get to that. OG under 15.5 points. I don't know if I need to get to that one again. If Josh Hart plays, not a bad spot. If he sits, then that's not as good of a bet. And then we're seeing some good bets here, guys. Scottie Barnes under 8.5 rebounds. Did not get the over the last time against the Knicks. Only 5 there. Sheed is someone that, with them all being healthy, is someone that the minutes should go down, projected for 20 minutes. Yeah, if he does only get 20 minutes, he does average 6.3. So probably a little bit too thin, but I'd be more inclined to get to his under just given the matchup. Same thing here with his 14.5 PRA. But ultimately, yeah, probably don't need to get to any of those. What are we at with RJ Barrett, guys? You guys like this one? Over 4 rebounds? I mean, it's tough not to like that, right? Very good chance for it to end up being a push. He was injured against the Knicks the times they played. I like this one. I think this is fine. I don't mind chasing these ones on prize picks or underdog where they do have a good chance to be a push. And if that happens, kind of obviously it just knocks your slip down one, turns a 6 slip bet into a 5 slip bet. I think I'm okay with that. I think I like this one. The issue, just to call it out, lower scoring game. So just maybe not as many missed shots as well. I think we can get to that one, though. All right, so we look at Charlotte versus Memphis here, guys. So Memphis still all the same players out. Not going to be any big differences there. Charlotte, kind of just weird injury movements throughout the last month for them, but really nothing too crazy. Basically the same stuff that we have been seeing for the most part. Players have been sliding in and out of the roster occasionally, but we'll take a peek here, guys. So all the best bets, we are getting a decent amount here in this game. And we're actually getting some interesting ones with Grant Williams and also John Concher just in general. So like Grant Williams, I like the under fantasy score more, and I'll touch on that in a second. But you know, he is getting a little bit more run. Shot the basketball 7 times last game. In 2 out of the last 3 games, has shot the basketball a decent amount. Like you would argue, he needs to have a better day shooting. So I don't hate it. Let's actually just zoom out real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So Grant Williams under 15.5 fantasy score is one that's popping up. And you do notice that he got 14 in the last game while still getting his over points. So both could hit. It's just a good matchup. And he's someone that maybe they start to give a little bit more minutes to. So, I mean, I'm still getting to it, guys. Like, I'm always going to bet these bets that have a 54% likelihood or better to hit. Typically, they hit. Obviously, I mean, basically all the bets hit at their expected rates. And then here's another one with Josh Green where I struggle to get to it. I probably will still bet it. But I will say I don't like looking at his game log here. He does average the under 57% of the time when he gets 16 minutes. Again, I'll still bet it. These are 2 bets where I'm still going to bet them. I just might not get as much volume on them. Like I'll probably have 3 slips of them rather than a lot more than that. John Concher is someone where I do like the over here as well. Only a 53% likelihood for it to hit. Not a terrible spot for him. But he is only projected to get 16 minutes. Now, if he has been getting more than that recently. But this is crazy, right? Like, look at his points. 0, 0, 2, 3. Like, to me, it's crazy to bet on a guy for his over fantasy score when we can't even count on him to make a bucket. At the same time, the flip side of that logic is if he just simply makes a bucket in either game, pretty much, both games he's getting his over there, and so it is kind of a weird spot because he's getting multiple blocks and steals, getting some rebounds as well, and so I thought those 2 players were just very interesting. The lines that we're getting on them, Grant Williams and John Concher, and then we do have Cedric Howard here. I know a decent amount of people were on him. I think on the last Wednesday live stream. And I believe it hit. Was it this one? I think it was. But that was with some other players being out. And then we'll go back into the best bets tab just to see. I don't mind this one for Jaren Jackson, guys. 52% likelihood for it to hit, 31 projected minutes. Not necessarily a great matchup for him. Have they faced Charlotte yet? He has not, so don't necessarily love that they haven't played each other, but still, 52% likelihood for it to hit. 5 rebounds does seem to be a little bit too low for him in a game that's projected to stay close. Would love to see an actual matchup against him, given the tough rebound matchup DVP-wise, but overall, still not bad. Landale's been going off. This is kind of interesting that we're being somewhat told to bet on his under, guys. Is it just due to the projected minutes, 25? Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about riding the hot hand with Landale for his overs. Let's see. What's his fantasy score at? Yeah. I kind of like the over fantasy score more. 1 block, 1 steal. 0, 1, and 2, 1 and 1. So the reason I'm looking at that, guys, is because if we can get him to get like 2 blocks and steals, 51% chance for him to get a steal, If we get 2 out of him, then it's a much better bet for his over fantasy score than his over PRA. I mean, we probably don't need to do it, but I kind of like riding the hot hand in these spots where a situation hasn't changed, that we were targeting him already in previous spots. Still should get 25 minutes, even though it might not be the best matchup. I still don't mind that. Too many bets on this live stream, guys, that are all only about like a 50% likelihood for them to, that I personally like. Now, maybe you guys are watching this like in some other bets that I've shown you guys, and that's fine, but it's kind of annoying for the slate that we have that those are kind of my favorite bets that are popping up for me. We'll continue on here, guys. Minnesota versus Dallas. So Edwards probably going to play here in this one. Millard's still out, kind of a well there. And then we look at Dallas, guys. Seemingly healthy. They've been a team where their lineup has changed a lot. So it's on a per night basis, we've been getting some value there, but also it's been tough to figure out with the minutes that the guards have been getting there. And so let's see what we have it at right now. So more minutes for Max, I'd be fine with that. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford a little bit more. So maybe we're looking at Christie. It's a 7-point spread in favor of Minnesota. I don't know. Just with Dallas being healthier, guys, I don't think we want to bet on them. I think that's the right call. I don't think we want to bet on Dallas too much here tonight. Just with them being healthier, usage is going to be spread out. Not necessarily the best matchup. I mean, if you've been someone that's been betting on Christie, you can ride the hot hand there. I don't hate that. What's his Demons line at? I think I'd rather do that, honestly. Bet on Christie to get over 19.5 points instead of his standard line. Obviously, that decreases the likelihood of it to hit, but kind of like the idea better. Gobert over 10.5 points. I don't know, guys. The times we've been told to bet on Gobert, it seems to have worked out for us for the over. Only a 52.5% chance for that to get the over against Dallas already. I don't mind it. Don't mind it. Clay's been getting a little bit more run recently as well. That was with everyone kind of being out. Only 14 in his last game, however. Didn't shoot the basketball terribly in that game. Kind of a normal game. This is kind of what I mean, guys, when I say I don't necessarily want to bet on Dallas. It's kind of a guessing game with the minutes. Doesn't seem worth it to me. So yeah, we'll just quickly take a peek at the best bets here. Maybe Gobert. I'll do Gobert over 10.5. Again, 52.5% chance. Like, it's a solid bet. Does feel like we're forcing a little bit. And then, not messing with Randall. All right, we'll move on into the next game here, guys. All right, so we got Golden State versus Utah. So I'm expecting Utah to be healthier tonight, guys. Front end of back-to-back yesterday. I believe, what did Clayton end up doing last night? When I first checked, because I mentioned yesterday, guys, I'm like, I really like Clayton for his overs. And he ended up, I believe, playing well. I know in the first half he did. I'm trying to see. But yeah, I'm expecting Yusuf Nurk to be back. I'm expecting George to be back, and I'm expecting Markkanen to be back as well. And so with that, all those backups that we were targeting yesterday are all a little bit too thin now. I'm just curious. I need to see for myself what ended up happening yesterday with them. So Collier did not play as well. 9 assists, though. Not terrible. Yeah, Clayton. Okay, so he did fall off. Jeez. 19 minutes, 5 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 block. That's annoying. Huh. Kind of interesting, the game there. Looking at the game log, Kevin Love ended up playing in that game. So, could Kevin Love sit in tonight's game then if he played yesterday? Kind of interesting to me there. And then we look at the Warriors here, guys. So, yes, Curry's probable, Green's probable, Gary Payne's probable, and then that basically means that we can't get to like Melton, Moody, Pods at all. It is a pretty heavy game total or game spread in favor of point spread in favor of the Golden State Warriors winning, guys. And so I wouldn't be surprised if one of those players end up sitting that are probable. You know, we do tend to see that, and especially more so with the Warriors. Now, again, like every single Utah game, guys, very high game total, good matchup for the other team. And so I do like the idea of game stack in this game. yeah, right. Honestly, the NBA's reporting, I don't know about you guys, and with all the critiques that they've had in regards to like the gambling stuff that's going on, I would have thought their reporting would be better this year. I feel like it's gotten a little bit worse. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just, actually, doing DFS and gambling, but it doesn't seem as good as it has been in years past. Again, maybe that's just me. From there, so we're looking at the best bets that we have here, guys. And so, like Pods, I actually wouldn't mind to get to under 15.5 points. That would be assuming that everyone that's listed as probable does end up playing. He did have one really good game, but the minutes have been capped. 27 minutes there. He did get to 33 here, 30 there, but he's really not getting more than that. Now, maybe with it being a good matchup for him, maybe gets going, maybe gets hot. But he really hasn't been shooting the basketball terribly. 4 for 13, that's pretty bad. But 6 for 10, 4 for 13 again, that's pretty bad, but not like egregiously bad, not like an extremely cold night, just more normal nights for him. And so it's not like we're chasing someone that's just extremely cold. I think we're seeing what he's been normal. But again, this is not a bet that I like for prize boost purposes. It has a 50.7% chance to hit. This is a better, more traditional sports bet. Again, I kind of hate that's been a lot of the bets lately. Pods for under is PRA, kind of the same thing. I actually like the points a little bit more there. We'll jump back out from the best bets filter. Oh, don't do this to me, Horford. I mean, if that one's still there, we got to take that. 54% likelihood. Draymond. It's a good matchup. 53% likelihood. I don't know if it's needed. Not messing with Ace Bailey. Yeah, if everyone's healthy, Melton's not as appealing. Let's look at George. I feel like we know the script with George, guys. Like, literally, just, it's kind of redundant to say, but if the game stays close enough for long enough, we just kind of want to bet on the overs for George and then Yusuf Nurkic and maybe Lauri Markkanen. Like Yusuf Nurkic, his lines have started to really come up here, guys. But I really don't mind the idea of stacking these two together. And then, geez, this is a really high line for Curry. 43.5 on underdog, a little bit better there. And obviously it's a good match for him, higher scoring game. But I really don't mind the idea of just kind of blindly stacking here. It's not the best analysis, I know, but I really don't mind that. Not getting a Horford for his fantasy score. You'd rather do the original bet there for him. But again, I think we're getting a good game stacking opportunity here, guys. So like using the selected only bets, I think this ends up being a fine bet with these four. They correlate together, just kind of betting on the game to be high scoring. A separate bet would be Pods for under 15.5 points. That's not a bet that I would want to use with these ones here. Was this just ruled out? Let me see. I'm going to pull up a different browser here. Or are you just assuming here? I just pulled up RotoWire to see as well. Seemed like they're both going to play. I mean, Yusuf illness in the last game. Oh, was he really 0 for 8? It was actually a good shot out. Let's see. I mean, honestly, I like seeing that. Like, again, like he had what, 32.9 there. You give him two, three more through three balls. That's 6 or 9 more fantasy points and he's getting the over. I like seeing that. Thank you for the shout. That gets me a little bit more encouraged. Okay. Good stuff. So I don't think it's fading Durant. I don't think we should look at it that way. It's just about making the best bets. We'll jump into that game here. So a lot of people seem to like this game. I don't know. Is this game getting a lot of hype on ESPN or something? Like, what's going on? So Steven Adams is still out. Sohan day to day, whatever. We don't care. It's crazy how last year, guys, he was getting a lot of run 2 years ago, getting a lot of run. Now just nothing. Low game total here. So that's kind of my issue with this game. It's the low game total, 220.4. Close game, though. So we like that. Do we just have a lot of people from Texas watching the live stream right now? Maybe. Oh. Had the selected only bets tab on there. Toggle. So we are getting Harrison Barnes for under 7.5 points. Sure, if that one's there, you can get to that. Finney Smith. I mean, I am getting so sick of PrizePicks doing this. They're trying like these low fantasy scoreline bets where you could literally get a steal or two in this case in the last game and get your over fantasy score and crush it. 2 games ago, no turnovers. 6 points there, 2 for 4 from 3. I just those lines are always funny to me. I don't really like messing with those. Vasil over 1.5 is just not terrible. Let's just look at the best bets. And again, yes, people did like Sangoon for his over. They also like Kevin Durant for his over, just as an FYI. We're seeing Julian Champagny for under 5 rebounds. I'm okay with that. Jabari Smith, I don't like that for his over. Projected for 33 minutes, like we don't hate that, but they're good to go. They're healthier, is what I mean. So we did have a question about Tari Eason, so we can take a peek at him. I would rather bet on him than Jabari Smith. And so let's zoom out a little bit, see if we're getting any other spots from him as well. So the best bet would be, based off the data, him to get over that PRA of 18.5, but you could also potentially get to his over fantasy score. They somewhat correlate together, guys. Tari Eason is someone that has been consistently getting steals. And so it does kind of come down to, does he get 2 blocks and steals or does he get 1? That's really the difference between if you would want to bet on the PRA or the over fantasy score. I actually don't mind the fantasy score here. I think that's a fine bet. 52.4% chance for that. I'm fine with that. Take a peek at Eamon Thompson here. Points and rebounds. 52% chance for this one to hit. Let's see what we did against the Spurs. So 39 minutes, 8, what's that? 16 and 14 there. 10 there. Not terrible. What did he do in his last game? Jeez, that's brutal. 42 minutes, only 10 shot attempts. That's brutal. What about his rebounds and assists? I don't know. Maybe his rebounds and assists. The amount of minutes he's been playing is crazy. Obviously, with it being a close game, good chance he does that again. This is an interesting question. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't looked into this. This is kind of a fun question, though, for me to potentially look into. I think obviously it just really depends on the team more so. It's kind of my initial thought. Pace of play is obviously more of a big thing. It's not like the game total is lower due to the teams being necessarily sloppy with the basketball. You know, it's not like they're going against a bad young team. But that's a very interesting question. Let's take a peek at this one. Kind of indifferent about it. Really, I mean, the projected minutes might end up being a little bit too low, but they are healthier. So it really just depends on if you think he's going to get more minutes than this. So if he gets closer to like 25, even 30, then probably too low. That's where we see. I think that's why we're getting the line here. It's just the difference in whether or not he gets more minutes. That's probably what it's just based off of. So not the most direct answer, but if you think he's going to get more minutes than what he's projected to get, then you'd want to bet on his over. All right, guys. So I'm going to show you guys all the selected bets here from the video. But again, I want to go back and just reiterate, I do like these college basketball bets. So if you guys are doing a bet slip, I would, if you're doing a 6 slip bet, I would want to include these two in there. Okay. So, yes, they only have a 53.8% chance, 53.6% chance, but I do think those end up being some pretty good spots. And so if any of these plus EV bets are still there, I think you'd want to get to those, right? Rudy Gobert, more chasing the matchup there against Dallas, 10.5 points. I do like the Kobe White one. I do wish we had a little bit more of a recent sample size with Josh Giddey on the court. This is just a bet on Trey Jones being off the court, guys, and it's just being a good matchup, a close game. We're more chasing that. I do really like the Tari Easton one. Hunter, and really there's a lot of bets here. A lot of the Cavs players, again, I kind of like this in the game stack. So Hunter for his over, Allen for his over, and then also Donovan Mitchell for his overs. You know, those 3 bets I kind of like more in game stacks. But again, that's due to Mobley being out and Garland being out. And then same thing here with George and Yusuf Nurk, guys. I like these two more in a game stack again with Curry. So we're getting some game stacking opportunities. Bam, I do like for over 19.5 points. RJ Barrett over 4 rebounds. I don't really want to click off of any of these because I like them all. And honestly, I don't want to have to redo the video or get done with the video and then redo all these bet slips here. Let's see again. So again, just to reiterate, I like this in a game stack. If you guys can find a bet with the Lakers that you want to run out, you can do that. The issue with these ones is, again, 52% likely it's the best bet to hit there. Typically on prize based on our dog, we want to be chasing higher likelihoods. And then just to recap, Warriors and Jazz, a little bit more of a game stack there with those 4. And the nice thing about NBA, guys, they do not penalize the payouts for game stacks. That's kind of the nice thing, especially fantasy score-wise as well. I wonder if eventually they're going to do that. I know it doesn't correlate necessarily as much as like a quarterback over pass yards with a receiver over receiving yards. Like I know that it doesn't correlate as much. But I am surprised that with everything else being extremely limited by prize-based underdog, like NHL shots on goal bets were so good 2-3 years ago. And now all of the good ones are always just like goblins, like instantly. They don't even mess around with it. Like this is the next thing that they're going to ruin for us is the ability to stack games there where it correlates. And so until they do that, I still think that's kind of the best betting opportunity. So we got 3+ EV bets, guys. And then standard wise, I want to give you guys like a 6 slip bet. So to me, it would be these two, the college basketball bets. I like Eason. I like Bam. So that's 4. I don't mind Bear for over 4 rebounds. So that's 5. And then Nurk drives me nuts. He's doubtful now. That's annoying. That really changes if we can be on George or not, because that does definitely increase the likelihood for that game to stay close. And that's really the point of betting on George. While we're talking about it, though, let's I want to see if he sits. If Ace Bailey, because Ace Bailey over 3.5 rebounds was one that was somewhat popping up. So I'll just take a quick peek at that. So with Nurk off the court, Ace Bailey does average 5.1 rebounds per 36. I was going to say I'd probably go with George as the 6th bet in there, so that's annoying. I mean, not terrible, guys. Project for 29 minutes. I know in the last 2 games, very much disappointments there, but overall, not terrible. Ace Bailey over 3.5 if Nurk sits. But let's get back into this real quick again. So the 2 college basketball prop bets, guys. Eason for his over, Bam for his over points, Barrett for his over 4.5 rebounds. Trying to mix in some stacking ones. But which one of the Cleveland bets do you guys like the most? Hunter over 12.5, Allen over 32 for his fantasy score, or Mitchell for over 31.5. Again, per 36 wise, all three of those bets are very appealing with Mobley and Garland off the court. And again, I kind of like them more in a game stack. I mean, I guess we would just go with Hunter just because that's the highest likely at 52% chance. I think we just do that. So that'll be the 6-slip bet. I like to just give you guys a bet of the day, guys, typically speaking, just so I can keep track. And if anyone comes in and talks shit, I can be like, well, actually, we're doing pretty darn good this season, you little Pete. You know, I'd like to be able to do that. I didn't want to swear. I was almost about to swear there, guys, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Again, we got these plus EV bets, some good fantasy scores, some stacking opportunities. We got someone saying Hunter. Okay, so I agree with Hunter there then. Okay, we'll do that. So 6-slip bet, just to reiterate. And again, I'm not clicking off these guys because I'm going to go place bets right after this live stream. The 2 college basketball prop bets, okay, and then we're going to get to Eason over 24 for his fantasy score. We need to Bam over 19.5. We'll get to Barrett over 4 rebounds. And we'll do DeAndre Hunter over 12.5 points. Okay, so that'll be the bet of the day. And with that, we'll end the video here, guys. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe, guys, on your guys' way out. If you guys would like access to this tool, plus all the other tools on the website, make sure to head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to all the tools for a very low monthly cost of $10 a month. And then, guys, I did put out an NFL prop betting video for the Super Bowl already, just trying to get some early looks. You guys can check that out. Also did an NFL DFS video for that as well already. So that's on the 9to5 DFS channel. And then also the Fantasy Golf channel. Check that out, guys. We had the Farmers Insurance Open. Brooks Koepka's back on the PGA Tour. I don't know if you guys follow golf at all, but kind of a fun thing there. Kind of not playing on live anymore, so he's back. So kind of fun stuff there. So check that out as well. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.